Good morning and welcome to the graduation for the class of 2018. Our first order of business, I will invite CCHS Senior Justin Moy to the stage to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Family and friends, please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing while the Concord-Carlisle High School Brass Ensemble plays the national anthem. Thank you. Please be seated. Before we begin this joyous ceremony, let me remind you to please turn or silence your cell phones. And we want to be sure it's an enjoyable moment for everyone. Good morning. Welcome, parents, faculty, members of the Concord-Carlisle Regional School Committee, Principal Mastrulo, Assistant Principals Miller and Knight, other distinguished guests, and most importantly, members of the class of 2018. I am Superintendent Lori Hunter, and I want to welcome you to our graduation exercises this morning. Indeed, it's been a privilege to have my first year come to a close as superintendent of a school community that not only supports education, but holds it close as its primary value. The opportunity that value creates for us as educators in this community at large and in our schools is limitless. Today, we take a moment to slow down and reflect on those achievements, think on what is important, and posture as to what it means for the future. When we opened this school year in August, I shared with the faculty the parable of the starfish story, or the star thrower, originally written by Lauren Isley. The story goes, one day an old man was walking along a beach that was littered with thousands of starfish that had been washed ashore by the high tide. As he walked, he came upon a young boy who was eagerly throwing the starfish back into the ocean, one by one. Puzzled, the man looked at the boy and asked what he was doing. Without looking up from his task, the boy simply replied, "I'm saving these starfish, sir." The old man chuckled. "Son, there are thousands of starfish and only one of you. What difference can that make?" The boy picked up a starfish, gently tossed it into the water, and turning to the man said, "I made a difference to that one." This amazing story reminds us that acts of any size can make a difference. To the families of our graduates, this story is an allegory for your work of the past 18 years. You are throwing your starfish into the ocean today. As a parent, I will sit in your seat tomorrow watching my oldest daughter graduate. I am thrilled to see her get ready to swim off, and yet fearful of her facing that big ocean with me not nearby. Knowing that this is the story of many a Disney movie, I can trust it will have a happy ending. In the meantime, as parents, we wonder where the time went, seeing this amazing young adult in front of us, and tell ourselves that despite many unsure moments, we made a difference in who he or she became. To the graduates, the Starfish story reminds you that you can have positive impacts in big ways or small ways. Both are incredibly important in making this world a better place. Never underestimate the power of a kind word, a smile, or act that may seem small to you, but have an important positive impact on those around you. I'm touched by the example of Cheryl Rice, whose You Matter business card project exemplifies this idea. Our author, Brad Aronson, shares Cheryl Rice's story. Cheryl Rice was working on a project at work. She was frustrated, she was stalled, she was dejected. Then a colleague gave her a card that changed everything. Often when we're going through a rough time, we feel alone, and just having someone notice and understand makes all the difference between feeling invisible and feeling loved and supported. For Cheryl, that card bearing just 2 little words is what made her realize she wasn't alone. The 2 words, you matter. Cheryl ordered 100 cards and carried them with her. She shares the story of handing out the first card. I was standing in the checkout line behind a woman who looked to be in her 60s. When it was her turn to pay, the cashier greeted her by name and asked how she was doing. The woman looked down, shook her head, and said, "Not so good. My husband just lost his job, and my son is up to his old tricks again. The truth is, I don't know how I'm going to get through the holidays." She gave the cashier her food stamps. My heart ached. I wanted to help, but didn't know how. Should I offer to pay for her groceries, ask for her husband's resume? I did nothing yet, said Cheryl. And the woman left the store. As I walked into the parking lot, I spotted the woman returning her shopping cart, and I remembered something in my purse that could help her in a different way, but hopefully profound way. It wasn't a handful of cash or a lead on a job for her husband, but maybe, just maybe, it would make her life better. "Excuse me," I said, my voice trembling a bit. "I couldn't help overhearing what you said to the cashier. It sounds like you're going through a really hard time right now. I'm so sorry. I'd like to give you something." And I handed her a business-sized card. When the woman read the card's only 2 words, she began to cry. And through her tears, she said, "You have no idea how much this means to me." I was a little startled by her reply. Having never done anything like this before, I hadn't anticipated the reaction I might receive. All I could think to respond was, "Oh my, would it be okay to give you a hug?" After we embraced, I walked back to my car and began to cry too. The words on the card, "You matter." Cheryl's project gained momentum. Her target this year is to distribute 1 million cards to people all over the world through ambassadors internationally. So graduates, leave CCHS knowing the power to make a difference is yours. Use it well. Congratulations and best wishes for a productive future. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the principal of Concord-Carlisle High School, Michael Mistrulo.
Good morning, everybody. So let me start by saying, if we were inside, we only can have 5 family members in there, and only 3 can actually watch it live. So we made the decision to go outside. So I just have a question. If you agree with this decision, please clap. Okay, good. I just want you on the record. If it starts raining, we're in this together, okay? So good morning and welcome everybody here to celebrate the great graduating class of 2018. I want to thank everybody who made this day possible, and I want to thank all those who helped these impressive students before me. The parents, CEF, the PA, the Scholarship Fund, and CCHS staff. Thank you, Ms. Knight, Dr. Hunter, and congratulations on a successful first year. And thank you, Mr. Miller, the hardest working person in the district. And a special thanks to everyone who made today possible. I love graduation. It's one of those indelible moments you won't soon forget. A day on par with college graduation, a day on par with your wedding, a day on par with almost any great day. Your parents are beaming with pride on this day. They can hardly believe you were on the verge of graduating from high school. One day they were putting you on a bus in kindergarten, waving to the bus as it went by. Seemingly the next day they watch as you drive off and head to school in your own car. driving to CCHS in the perpetual yet fruitless search of a parking spot. Is it too soon? Okay. There are countless highlights I could share from this past year, but here are a few big ones. In this, our second year together, we won several state championships. We won a state soccer championship in dramatic fashion when senior Logan Dick scored a goal in double overtime. All right, there's a lot. You might want to hold your applause at the end. I'm sorry. The Nordic ski team won a state championship for the first time since Ronald Reagan was president. Our fencing team won a state championship. The girls cross country team won a state championship and in the process did not lose a single match. Several teams this spring have a chance at a state championship. Orchestra, band, and chorus were recognized and honored in several ways, not the least of which was a school record 40 students accepted into the MMEA District Music Festival, outpacing all other schools in our district. 19 of those students receiving all state recommendations. We also had several students recognized for their artistic accomplishments, including more than a dozen Boston Globe Scholastic Arts and Writing Awards. A New York Times editorial contest witnessed 8 CCHS students finishing in the top 100 out of more than 9,000 entries nationwide. Another competition witnessed 3 students from CCHS placed in the top 50 out of more than 1,200 nationwide. Not to mention the countless academic achievements by the impressive students of this great school. Justin Moy named National Ambassador for the MD Foundation. Senior Ben Tull won his second Emmy for his movie on texting and driving. I mean, after a while, it starts to get a little ridiculous. However, I am here to announce that in order to top this remarkable 2017-2018 campaign, that next year, and this is really exciting, in order to top this next year, we're going to be offering classes that take place on the moon. Yep, on the moon. That's right. Inspiration for this speech this year came at an unlikely time from an unlikely source. One of my daughter's favorite children's book. Hi, Brooke. Scaredy Squirrel. But laugh if you must, but this book, I promise, has a message. And here it is. Scaredy Squirrel by Melanie Watt. A story that seems quite fitting as we ponder your life after CCHS. Quote, you see, Scaredy Squirrel never leaves his nut tree. He'd rather stay in his safe and familiar tree than risk venturing out into the unknown. The unknown can be a scary place for a squirrel. A few things Scaredy Squirrel is afraid of. Green Martians, killer bees, tarantulas, poison ivy, germs, and sharks. So he is perfectly happy to stay right where he is. In Scaredy Squirrel's nut tree, every day is the same. Everything is predictable. All is under control. Unquote. Of course, this story has an underlying meaning. You see that majestic building in the background, that's the nut tree, and that makes you, my friends, the squirrel. You are about to leave the safety and comfort of this school, the safety and comfort of the 3 communities that make up Concord-Carlisle High School, the safety and comfort of coming to the same place and seeing the same faces every day. Now, you must venture out into uncertainty, new challenges, experiences, new people, the unknown. This is what makes it exciting and scary. So, that first night when you're alone in your dorm room, when you lay your head in the pillow feeling a little outside of your comfort zone and a little alone, or if you decide to forego college and assimilate directly into the workforce, when you walk into work on day 1 feeling alone, or if you have decided to take a gap year on the first night in a distant land when you lay your head to the pillow feeling alone, regardless of which one of these describes you, embrace the uncomfortable and see it as an opportunity to learn and grow, an opportunity to meet really interesting people that are different from you. So I'd like to share a poem that my daughters, now aged 12 and 10, wrote a few years ago that seems to fit this equation quite well. And here it is, Mayhem Brooks' poem. I quote, "It's okay to be shy. Sometimes you just gotta say hi." Actually, that's it. I mean, they're 7 and 5. I mean, come on. Well, students, you get it, though. Put yourself out there and meet some new people. Scaredy Squirrel did it, and so can you. Of course, when you put yourself out there, you risk failure. And unfortunately, society is sending conflicting messages to teenagers about failure. But before I get into those mixed messages, I want to talk to you about a few of my own failures. There are plenty. But specifically, a few failures involving work. And to do so, I must give a little context. So I grew up in a blue-collar town not far from here, and we resided on the bottom rung of the lower middle-class socioeconomic ladder. Two smart, hardworking parents who, like most individuals in this income bracket, had little margin for error. We benefited from economic booms and fell victim to economic busts. One particular nasty economic bust caused hardship resulting in home foreclosure. As a narcissistic teen, I was largely ignorant to just how bad our financial situation was. And that's thanks to my parents. I never went without, I never felt poor, always had clothes on my back, food to eat, and never deprived of the only things I cared about, an opportunity to go to school and to play sports. So thanks to them, I never felt poor until, and this, I'm a little embarrassed to admit this, the devastating loss of cable television. Kids, this is before Netflix, there's no internet. Imagine your life with no Wi-Fi. I was like, Dad, no TV. Do you realize that they have cable television in prison? So let me get this straight. I have no cable, but if I commit a felony, I get cable. He said, Michael, can I ask you a question? I said, sure, Dad, go ahead. You want to know what my favorite television shows are? There's plenty. He's like, no, Michael, I just want to know, are you an idiot? He said, they foreclosed on our home. You're consuming 10,000 calories a day, and we all need to eat. So get a job. So get a job I did. I got a job at Mr. Jack's Catering, and I worked in the kitchen preparing salads. I was the only one required to make salads. It required a salad specialist, and that was my job. And by making salads, I mean taking the contents out of a large bag, cutting them up, and putting them into a giant bowl. As the salad specialist, I worked largely in isolation. And each salad was accompanied by a companion, a delicious, buttery, decadent roll. And Mr. Jack was a nice guy, and he gave me permission to eat as many rolls as I liked. Little did Mr. Jack know my calories were cut, and I was saving to right or wrong. I was saving for cable. I ate 20 of these delicious treats every night. This was working out fine for everyone. I was getting my carbs and pumping out salads at an amazing rate until one day I made my required 100 salads and realized after eating 11 of these little treats that we only had 89 rolls. Unbeknownst to me, we were out of rolls. So Mr. Jack came marching in, whistling as he often did. He looks at me and says, Michael, where are the rolls? I'm like, I don't know. We don't have enough. He's like, Michael, I counted the rolls. We had 100. I was a teenager, so this is what I did as a teenager. I just turned it around to Mr. Jack. Well, Mr. Jack, you said I could eat the rolls. Maybe you should have ordered more. He looked at me, probably thinking, this little kid is literally eating my profits. And he asked me one simple, succinct, yet totally appropriate question. He said, Michael, are you an idiot? I was like, this question again. Here we go. Lesson learned, I can't work around food. So next job, Sweet Spot Driving Range. The Sweet Spot Driving Range is a typical driving range in the late 80s, double-decker structure where people hit golf balls. Naturally, I started at the bottom. And so that required that I retrieve golf balls by hand, not in the little fortified structure you see at Kimball's. I had to pick them up literally by hand during business hours. That means people were hitting golf balls. But luckily, I went through a really rigorous training program, which consisted of, 1, learning how to put on a hard hat, and 2, important instructions to always keep my back to the people driving the balls. It was essentially understood that you were going to get hit with a golf ball. And this gives you kind of a glimpse into the darker side of humanity. Because when the ball lands near you and everybody hitting a golf ball goes, oh! It's at that moment you realize you're not only a golf ball retriever, you're a target. I was a kid. So life lesson there. If your life is in danger, kids, you can quit. I did. Too often, we fear failure. The mere idea of failure is too much to bear. So I'm going to tell you a quick story about my life that I rarely speak of, But this is about failure, and it's a story that really impacted the remainder of my life. I had a dream of playing professional baseball. Baseball or football did not much matter to me. And as a senior, I was lucky enough to be drafted by the Cleveland Indians to play baseball. I was on my way to fulfilling a dream of 18 years. After 4 years and a surgery, my dream was gone, and I had failed. I was embarrassed, ashamed, depressed. Depression went from an abstract term to a physical condition. I eventually enrolled at Boston College, played football for 1 year, fulfilling another dream, and I quit. It was another failure. So there's a tendency when you fail to attempt to justify your failure, a defense mechanism that allows you to downplay your failure, to minimize your failure, or make it seem less of a failure than it is. So when you fail, I caution you to avoid justifying and dulling the pain. Instead, embrace the awful feeling of failure, learn from your mistakes, and use it as fuel to succeed. Hold on, I'm sweating really bad. So now to the mixed messages we're sending teenagers. Society is sending teenagers mixed messages with regard to failure. There are countless books and research articles preaching the importance of failing and the lessons learned and the grit derived from failing. I believe it all to be true. But it seems that everyone is allowed to fail but a high school student. Not only are you not allowed to fail, we have given you a skewed sense of what failure actually is. You have been convinced that not getting accepted into an elite institution is a failure. You've been convinced that getting a B or a C on your transcript is a failure. These are certainly not failures. This year, most of you are seeking acceptance into college, and the system demands near perfection. You're not allowed to fail. Actually, the process affords you one. You can fail. It has to be big enough where you can write your college essay about it. Talk about all the lessons you learned, but not too big of a failure, or the system is going to use it against you. I'm here to tell you that failure is something to embrace, to learn from. Don't dwell on your failures and beat yourself up over it, but learn from them and remember that wisdom comes easily after the fact. The last point I want to make is to be worthy of your advantages. The fact that you received a top-notch K-12 education gives you great advantages. The fact that many are off to colleges gives you a great advantage. The fact that you have post-high school opportunities gives you a great advantage. Recognize these advantages, be grateful for these advantages, and you do that by thanking those who have given you those advantages, and you can be worthy of those advantages by helping others. Lastly, at CCHS, we strive to provide all students with advantages and equal opportunities, regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, etc. Unfortunately, as you leave CCHS, equal opportunity is not always the case. We have a student body roughly of half female, half male. When you go to higher education, you'll see there are more females graduating from college than males. There are 30% more females earning an advanced degree than males. This is a major factor in getting hired. Yet, it is a fact that women are paid less. It is a fact that 6.4% of Fortune 500 CEOs are female. It's a fact that only 19% of the House of Representatives are female. Only 20% of the senators are female. And so that, said another way, that means 80% of our elected officials making decisions related to women, your health, and your families are male. I think we must all agree that this is wrong. And CCHS students have powerful female role models in our school. The Denise Carvers of the world, Tracy Dunns of the world, the Yolanda Volpes of the world, the Tracy Davies of the world, the Dora Goldings of the world, the Nora Murphys of the world, the Liz Wilkinsons of the world, the Caton Smiths of the world. I could go on and on. These women have taught you to be strong, to have a voice, to be leaders. So I encourage you to follow their lead, demand a voice at the table, and do it for you. And I also ask that you do it for Brooke, my daughter Brooke. Hi, Brooke. As I have asked you many times over the course of the 2 years, I encourage you to wake up every day with the intention of contributing to the well-being of others. And I can't give a speech without putting at least one Winston Churchill quote in there. And I think it's really appropriate as we sit here today. And I quote, "This is not the end, this is not the beginning of the end, but it is the end of the beginning." Thank you. I now welcome the president of the senior class, Emma Garrison.
Good morning, friends and family, faculty, administrators, and soon-to-be graduates. Thank you for being here today as we come together one final time to celebrate the class of 2018. And I'd like to begin by thanking you not only for your presence today, but for everything you've contributed to our lives over the course of our years at CCHS. Thank you to friends and family for your endless love and support. You've been there for our successes, our failures, and everything in between. You've been our greatest advocates, our most committed fans, and our constant support system. As cliche as it may be to say it, we truly could not have done it without you. Thank you to the administration and support staff for the countless hours of work you've invested so we can make the most of our high school experience. From coordinating orientation for a nervous group of freshmen 4 years ago, to just this week, conducting graduation rehearsals for an impatient group of seniors who would have rather been anywhere else, you've paid tireless attention to every behind-the-scenes detail. This dedication has allowed us to benefit from an amazing education and fostered a wonderful community to support us as we've grown up. Thank you to our teachers for the expertise and enthusiasm you bring to class every day. Your passion for what you teach and your commitment to your students provided us an unparalleled academic foundation and encouraged us to pursue our studies with a critical eye and a curious mind. And of course, thank you to my classmates, the incredible class of 2018. Throughout my time at CCHS, I've been continually inspired by you. I've been a proud member of this class because of its momentous artistic, athletic, and academic achievements. However, I've also been inspired by moments that were smaller and more spontaneous, but no less impactful. I'd like to take this time to share some anecdotes that I think represent the spirit of our class. I believe I truly got to know the class of 2018 on December 15th of this year. The day before, I'd been deferred from my first choice college, and I was upset, to say the least. In addition to the usual disappointment and sadness that accompany a deferral, I worried about going to school the next day. I worried about having to tell my well-meaning classmates that no, actually, I didn't get in, but thanks for asking. I went to school reluctantly on December 15th, walking down the stairs to the senior breakfast while bracing myself for what was to come. As soon as I reached the bottom of that staircase, however, I knew unequivocally that my fears had been misplaced. Instead of the questions and judgment I had feared, I was greeted with smiles, hugs, and words of reassurance. The support I received on that day was absolutely invaluable and proved to me the incredible depth of compassion this class possesses. I learned another invaluable lesson about our class earlier this spring when the boys of the class of 2018 decided to bring a male model to prom. While I know most students are familiar with the story, let me provide some context for friends, family, and faculty who may be a bit confused. As is tradition, the junior and senior girls created a Facebook group a couple months before prom to share pictures of our dresses with one another. Not to be outdone, the boys jokingly created a tuxedo group of their own. After one tux became particularly popular, a couple of boys embarked upon a mission to identify its model. With some extensive research and effort, they found and contacted the model, Clayton Straker, and asked him to come to our prom. Clayton agreed, and a GoFundMe page was created to pay for his plane ticket. However, the page was soon disabled by the GoFundMe website. At this point, you're probably wondering how this story is in any way relevant to a celebration of this graduating class. But I think its conclusion demonstrates some of the best qualities of the class of 2018. Although the GoFundMe page was disabled, the boys reached an agreement with Clayton. He would fly out here on his own dime if they donated the money intended for his expenses to a charity of their choice. They immediately took action, raising almost $9,000 in total. And the charity? Since their fundraiser coincided with International Women's Day, the boys decided to donate to Rosie's Place, a Boston-based women's shelter. I think these two stories perfectly exemplify my experience as a member of the class of 2018. We start with a sense of humor, persevere through the challenges that arise on the path towards our goals, and ultimately act from a place of compassion, generosity, and empathy. And with no offense intended to our teachers, I truly believe these day-to-day occurrences provide the most important lessons we've learned during our time at CC. Even if we can't remember the dates and locations we memorized in our US history classes, sorry, Miss Fox and Miss Davies, studying late into the night for a big test taught us the value of hard work. Our geometry and biology classes taught us not only that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, or that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, but also how to apply logic and perseverance to even the most daunting of problems. And we've already begun to apply these lessons of hard work and perseverance outside the classroom, as evidenced by our long list of accomplishments. We can claim a host of incredibly successful sports teams. Our fencing, boys soccer, girls cross country, and boys Nordic teams all won their respective state championships. Both boys and girls swim teams broke school records. Our girls Nordic team was first in their league, girls softball and volleyball won DCLs, and the girls basketball team made playoffs. As you'd expect of such a compassionate class, we also used sports to give back to the community. We hosted charity events, including Patriots for Patriots, Kicks for Cancer, and a baseball game in support of our beloved teacher, Mr. Gauthier, and his family. And giving back has been a theme for our class, not just through sports, but in general. We completed 44,035 hours of community service. This incredible number is equivalent to an average of 135 hours per person, far exceeding our 40-hour per person graduation requirement. I was lucky enough to witness the class's success in other areas too. I was blown away by the talent demonstrated by the cast and crew of our musical, Guys and Dolls. I was inspired by the poise, sophistication, and intelligence of the moot court participants. And I was impressed daily in my classes as I watched my peers solve seemingly impossible problems in physics or tackle global challenges in current affairs. Considering these accomplishments and countless more, I can't help but imagine the day when I will talk about my former classmates and, with pride, say the words, "I knew them when." And as we prepare to embark upon our individual journeys, I'd like to leave you, the class of 2018, with one final wish. I wish that as you pursue whatever may be next on your particular path, you carry with you the lessons you've learned not only in the classroom, but in the hallways, on stage, and on the field. I wish that you remember not only what it means to be a student, but what it means to be a team player, a member of a community, a hard worker, and a friend. I wish that as you pack your suitcases full of clothes and decorations for your dorm, you remember to pack the kindness, enthusiasm, and heart I've been privileged enough to witness every day for the past 4 years. I wish that no matter where you go, no matter what you do, you remember the most valuable lessons that CC has taught us. Thank you, and congratulations.
It's with great pleasure that I introduce the faculty speaker, Josh Reed. A little bit about Josh. Josh Reed joined CCHS in 2013 as an assistant football coach while completing his student teaching obligations. The following school year, Josh became a full-time teacher at CCHS, hired as a member of the Health and Fitness Department, and advisor to student government. In 2004, Josh graduated from Quinnipiac University, earning a Bachelor of Arts degree in English. And after graduation, Josh spent 6 weeks backpacking through Europe, an experience he describes as transformative, before entering the workforce as an employee of the family business. With a desire to become an educator, Josh enrolled at Boston University and graduated in 2013 with a master's in education. Josh is a dedicated and well-respected coach, teacher, and colleague who loves being a member of this educational community. He's a positive role model in the lives of young men and women, and Josh and his wife live in Concord. His wife's name is Jessica. I'm sorry, Jessica. Live in Concord with their 2 boys, Owen and Luke. Please welcome Josh Reed.
Wow, this is amazing. What a day, what a day, what a day. Good afternoon, Dr. Hunter, Mr. Mastrullo, Mr. Miller, Ms. Knight, school committee, faculty, staff, loved ones from Concord, Carlisle, and Boston, and most importantly, to you, the class of 2018. Yes, it's me, Mr. Reed, You may not recognize me, but don't worry. This is actually a breakaway suit, and I have my usual full Under Armour apparel underneath. It's true. I know you've all been sitting for a while, and I would not be doing my job as a physical educator if I did not get you moving. I know it's hot, but what I want you to do, stand up. Turn to the person on either side of you. Give them a handshake, a high five, maybe even a hug. All right, sit down. It's hot. That was great. You're welcome. You're welcome. Definitely feel the love after that. That was great. It is truly an honor and humbling experience to be standing here before you as the 2018 commencement speaker. I was fortunate enough to teach almost 70% of you during your high school careers and got to know many more of you as your class advisor. Today, you are here together as the class of 2018 graduates, but you may also be a son, daughter, grandchild, sibling, teammate, or friend. You all wear many different hats and will go on to add to these various roles. For me, the three most important hats I wear every single day are that of teacher, coach, and father. Before you leave for the next steps of your journey, I want to share with you lessons I have learned in these roles. When thinking how to best convey my message, I remembered something my mother taught me when I was young and would struggle at times to express myself. She would encourage me to write down my thoughts in a letter. So graduates, this is my letter to you. Dear CCHS class of 2018, I am standing here in front of you today because I took a risk. 6 years ago, my wife and I moved from Boston to the suburbs, and we bought what we thought was our forever home on the North Shore. I was working as a general contractor for my dad's construction company in southern Maine, coaching football, high school football at my alma mater, and mentoring at my old elementary school. I was giving back to the community. I got to work with my dad, had a steady income, and I got to see the fruits of my labor at the end of the day. Life was good, but I could not shake the feeling that something was missing. One day on a commute home, I was talking to a friend who was fresh out of business school. He was asked during a job interview where he saw himself in 10 years. A rather simple and cliche interview question, but that day it compelled me to try to answer it as well. After we hung up, I tried to envision where I wanted to be and kept coming back to the same answer. I wanted to be a teacher. My mother was a teacher, guidance counselor, assistant principal during her tenure in education, so it is in my blood. This notion of making a career change sat at the forefront of my mind for the next couple months and seemed like a daunting task. Finally, I decided to talk about it with my wife. I shared her my aspirations to change careers and to make that change at the age of 31. Like usual, she was incredibly supportive, which propelled me to take a leap of faith and go back to school to get my master's degree in education. It was difficult to tell my dad I was leaving the family business. I loved working with my dad. He is my best friend and role model, but I knew it was time to follow my heart. I was accepted to Boston University's physical education and coaching master's program. I could not tell if my excitement at that moment was an adrenaline rush for my new opportunity or pure fear because of the realization we now had one less income, a BU tuition, a mortgage, and to top it off, my wife was pregnant with our first child. Shortly thereafter, I was introduced to head football coach Mike Robichaux and learned about Concord-Carlisle High School. I took another risk. I left my old coaching position after he offered me a job on his staff, and I immediately fell in love with the school, the culture, the community, the tradition, and the students. I had a positive vibe that I wanted to immerse myself in. I knew I wanted to teach at CCHS. The following year, my wife and I sold our forever home, planted our roots in Concord, and it was in the dark halls of the old CCHS where graduates, you and I started our journey together as you entered as freshmen. I'm sure we can all close our eyes, remember the smell, the dim lighting, the leaks in the roof, and the good old learning commons. But it was a special place where our CCHS memories started. From that point forward, I knew my risk was well worth it, and it led me to what I was truly meant to do. It is an understatement to say that I love being a teacher, and it is because of all of you. It is the many social interactions with students that make my day. Learning about your games, musicals, academic accolades, challenges, and accomplishments. You inspire me to attack each day with enthusiasm. So, class of 2018, take risks. You may not know where it will lead, but regardless of the outcome, those moments of embracing uncertainty and facing your fears will build character, teach perseverance, and encourage you to take advantage of the opportunities in life. And maybe that risk will result in a life-changing event that will bring you as much joy and satisfaction that taking my risk has given me and my family. Now, as a coach, I hear many one-liners, but my favorite is the rather simple phrase my 4-year-old son, Owen, is required to say before stepping on the mat for his karate lesson. He says, "I will do my best." There are not many things in life that are within your control, but there are 2 things that only you can change at any time: your effort and your attitude. When you step on the field, the court, or the track, you cannot control the weather conditions or who your opponent is, or maybe even how much sleep you got the night before because of all the homework CCHS gave you. But you can control how you react to the different aspects of competition. I have witnessed firsthand over these past 4 years many of you exhibit a positive attitude, unmatched effort when approaching obstacles inside and outside of the classroom. Positive attitude was my daily good morning greeting from Michael Burke, with a spirited smile after an hour bus ride from Boston that eliminated any worry that I had from the day before. Maximum effort was Alina Lawrence's determination through adversity during her 4 years of track and cross country to lead her team as a captain to a state championship. Year-round commitment from Burke Hutchinson and Ryan Baker to master their craft in theater through countless hours of rehearsal was evident in every musical. Commendable dedication was Catherine Kingman volunteering every H block her senior year to spend with my Pathways class and form bonds with students that will last a lifetime. Infectious effort was Michael Levinger and Alex Hamill leading morning lifting at 6 a.m. before school, motivating their teammates to be better. Admirable effort and optimism was Erin Mackey overcoming a tragic loss and becoming a leader in social change at CCHS. Yes, her impact will forever be stamped in the school's history. I observed devotion and enthusiasm from your class officers, Emma, Ruchi, Daisy, and Lauren and Scott, who met weekly at 7 a.m. to plan and organize events to enhance your high school experience. I heard countless anecdotes from teachers and coaches about this senior class that embody the true meaning of optimal effort and positive attitude. Many moments that earned you the place where you all currently sit. To me, the recipe for life is that simple. So remember, as you venture off to college, your effort and attitude will get you out of bed for that 8 a.m. class, or help you deal with a difficult roommate, or balance things out during the stressful times of midterms and finals. Life will not always be a smooth road, but if you work hard, put in the effort, and keep a positive attitude, things will all work out. At the end of Owen's karate lesson, as he steps off the mat, he says, "I did my best. I hope at the end of each day, regardless of the challenges you endured, you can say those exact words when you look in the mirror." As many of you know, I am the lucky father of 2 boys, Owen, who will be attending kindergarten in Alcott in the fall, and Luke, who will be 2 in July. Needless to say, the Reed household is never quiet. My boys have opened my eyes to many aspects of life that I never fully valued before. But the best lesson? It's the little things in life that mean the most. Every day after school, I leave here to go pick up my boys at Concord Children's Center. When I arrive to the classroom, Owen or Luke eye me at the door. A huge smile greets me as I can see every muscle in their body flex with excitement, almost lifting them off of the ground. With their big smile, they run to me as fast as their little legs will carry them and wrap their arms around me with an enthusiastic "Dada!" Parents, while it may seem a long time ago that your graduates greeted you with that same reaction, I bet you can remember the feeling it brought you and will agree if we could bottle it up, we would. With parenting a toddler and a preschooler, the days can be long while the years seem to fly by. Often, parents with high schoolers will say to me and my wife, "Enjoy, it goes by fast." Parents, I'm sure seeing a child here today in a cap and gown, you wondering where the time has gone. This advice has encouraged me each day to focus on the sweet little moments in my journey as a dad. It is watching Owen's face light up with pride when riding his bike and he realizes you let go and he's moving all by himself. It is the look Luke gives me with his big blue eyes as he grabs my hand with his chubby little fingers as we go for our nightly walk around the neighborhood. It is watching Owen teach his little brother how to use a toy, only to hear cries moments later because he stole the toy back, push him down like any good big brother would do. And I'm sure those with siblings can relate. It is seeing Owen and Luke share a hug and hoping that they will always love each other as much as we love them. These little moments do not cost anything. They do not require technology. They are not subject to how many likes they get on social media, but they bring so much happiness and hold a special place in my heart. Graduates, parents, and loved ones, here's an assignment that you do not have to pass in. I ask you to take a moment together this evening and reflect on the little things that will forever remind you the significance of this day. Class of 2018, as your class of 2018, as your path moves forward, do not wish the days away. Do not be a rush to move on to the next phase in life. Instead, treasure the laughs and late-night conversations with friends. Enjoy the flavors of Bedford Farms. Cherish those precious moments with family and friends. Value those annoying check-ins with your parents. And savor those last few home-cooked meals before departing. And when you get to where you're going, remember, it's a new chapter for everyone. Be kind. Make new friends. A little thing you do could make someone else's day. And put away your phone from time to time to fully appreciate the meaning of these special moments. Graduates, before I dismiss you one final time, carry this advice. Take risks and follow your heart. Put in the work and stay positive even when facing adversity. And remember the little things. Lastly, call home. I know you will text, but actually call home. Just as a reminder, it is that little button on your screen that looks like a handset. It is usually green. Press it and hear a slice of home to help warm your heart. I am sure loved ones on the other end will light up when they see your name pop up, just like my boys do at daycare pickup, because they love you more than you will ever know. Regardless of what the next phase brings you, my door is always open, my inbox accepts emails 24/7, and my voicemail is never full. Don't ever hesitate to reach out, and I will do my best to help you navigate this road of uncertainty. I'm one of your biggest supporters. These past 4 years have been some of the best years of my life, and the main reason is because of all of you. This has truly been an honor to speak to you today, and thank you again for this opportunity. Best of luck. Love you guys. Sincerely, your teacher, your advisor, your coach, your biggest fan. Thank you.
And the time has come. I mean, at least it's not that hot, so that's good. I'd like to introduce Robert Grom, chairperson of the Concord-Carlisle Regional School District, School Committee, and we will confer the diplomas to the class of 2018. Mr. Grom, the members of the class of 2018 presented to you today have successfully completed their high school education and have properly satisfied the graduation requirements set forth by the state of Massachusetts and us. So, to present the members of the class of 2018, I would like to introduce their advisors, Josh Reed and Kelly Yusha.
Are we going? Huh?
Once they line them up. Let's go.
Emma Catherine Garrison. Scott Edward Crosby. Ruchi Devendra Naidu. Daisy Keelty. Lauren Elizabeth Prahovich. Natalia Dar Ailey. Benjamin Charles Allard. Robert Julian Arado. Alyssa Ellen Atenito. Michael Robert Avakian. Owen James Bailey. Ryan Joseph Baker. Daphne K. Baldomas. Henri Robert Baglin. Mark Philip Benham. Santiago John Benoit. Zella Rose Bergman. Emra Claire Bershon. Jacqueline Zoe Bernstein.
Daisy Isabel Bex. Ryan George Bishop. Wilhelmina Sabina Blake. Carly Ann Blue. Aiden Michael Bolio. Laud Bosampra Bunsu. Nicolette Ann Bott. Tucker Rawl Boynton. Rosa Susanna Braceras. Thomas Gordon Brockway. Andrea Janice Brown. Catherine O'Hara Brown. Peter Nicholas Bruning. Eleanor Doran Buck. Michael Anthony Burke, Jr. Britt Ashlyn Burles. Sarah Veronica Bushman. Aiden Erland Campbell. Caroline Marie Canali. Alejandro Ramon Cancio. Emma Grace Canestraro. Grace Elizabeth Capafreddi.
Sarah Louise Carbo. Oliver White Carlson. Maxwell Alexander Carnathan. Juliet Andrea Carr. Regina Andrea Casimiro Nunez. Jason Douglas Chadwick. Jackson Robert Champy. Luis Chardon. Karen Chen. Larry Jaying Chen. Chao Cheng. Henry David Christensen. Alfred Joseph Close. Jeffrey Austin Cohen. Megan Frances Corcoran. Caroline Sellers Cuoco. Megan Ora Curley. Chloe Wind Sear. Michael Anthony DeRosa. Benjamin Baxter Davies. Maeve Colleen Devlin. Molly Kramer Dibble.
Logan Elwood Dick. Timothy Martin Dillon. Robert Kearns Doherty. Isabel Liliana Dominguez. Maggie Ann Dorr. Fiona Elizabeth Duell. Maxwell James Dreyer. Mark Driscoll. Michael Driscoll. Travis Aiden Drury. Jacob Maxwell Dudley. Camilla Tobler Durham. Grace Elizabeth Durlocker. Lauren Elizabeth Derniak. Jack Walsh Easterday. Kendall Barbara Eaton. Chloe Rose Fadul. Nana Virginia Faramarspor. Jalen Deshaun Farkason. Sarah Elizabeth Ferris. Maxwell Joseph Feinberg. Benjamin Noel Fink.
Liam Edward Fink. Sophie Abigail Fisher. Erin Eileen Fitzgerald. Isabel Juliette Fletcher. Ryan Alexander Fletcher. Cooper Neville Flory. Davison Jubilance Wheeler Floyd. Isabella Grace Pole Francis. Jasper Harvey Frost. Penelope Beatrice Frost. Nicholas Noel Sassy Gallant. Anthony Junglung Gao. Ian Shulman Garrett. Isabella Warner Garrison. Jason Christopher Genova. Lucas Elmo Gernon. Emily Ann Gilbert. Christopher Tracy Gill. Jennifer Stewart Gladstone. Andrew Thomas Gamelik. Zoe Eads Ganatas. Victoria Serkis Goodisman.
Madeline Grace Gorowitz. James Carl Grant. Madeline Elizabeth Green. Gavin Dieter Griffith. Chanley Nanette Gustafson. Russell Benson Guth. Addison Olivia Hagan. Kedron Altiman Hall. Phoebe Roberts Hall. Alexander Paul Hamill. Jacob Thomas Hamilton. Olivia Ainsley Hanselman. Olivia Marie Hargraves. Lauren Marie Harmon. Alden Littlefield Herring. Peter DeWick Hartshorn. Raven Ayana Heath. Margaret Morgan Hedeman. Megan Taylor Herr. Wyatt Worth Hickman. Jonathan Andrew Hill.
Trevor Wesley Hoffman. Natalie Jane Hoover. Albert Shu. Johnny Lamar Hudson. Aliyah Fazal Husseini. Burke Michael Hutchinson. Sarah Torpy Hutchinson. Aiden Christopher Ishii. CJ Israel. Joseph Kazmir Jakanowski. Julia Ann Jacobs. David Jang. Rosa Maria Jimenez. Lucy Tong Yu Jin. Nancy Tong Yoon Jin. Iris Amanda Johnson. Mia Louise Jones. Abrea Soles Joseph. Ariman Joshi. Benjamin Edgelow Ketcher. Adrian Maurice Kager.
Willow Mafin Kangas. Elise Michelle Atkinson Kaplan. Evelyn Elizabeth Carl. Alexander Campbell Kessler. Avery Jared Keeney. Spencer John King. Catherine Alicia Kingman. Alexis Joyce Kirkpatrick. Emily Ann Kirkwood. Miles Stewart Kissinger. Toby Christopher Benjamin Klein. Haley Maureen Kohler. Josephine Witter Kalstad. Claudia Helen Kuntz. Livia Sofia Kovacevic. Chloe Susan Koval. Madeline Pierce Lamoth. Alina Marie Laurent. Allison Catherine Lee. Hannah Michelle Lee. Ella Lee Leinener. Kelly Alexandra Leonard.
Jacob Ethan Levin. Come up closer. Michael Delbridge Levenger. Eleanor Kincaid Lewis. Matthew Zhang Li. Alexander Marvin Lim. Benjamin James Lidner. Anthony Joseph Lapret IV. Good. Paula Julia Loy. David James Luby. Peter Joseph Marr. Aaron Olivia Mackey. Liam Jacob Dewart McLean. Joseph Grant Millette. Olivia Josephine Mayoni. Zeba Zuber Malek. Lucinda Eve Manlick. Emily Linda Morano. Erica Sharon Mascot. Molly Kate Masterson. Timothy Joseph McClure. Lucas Hayes McCourt. Shay Thomas McIntyre.
Justin Kritapun Ratana Moy. Tyus Eric McKenna. Isabella Rose McKinney. Haley Elizabeth McMurrow. Catherine Marie McNally. William Clifford Meehan. Jackson Thomas Moore. Matthew Leon Moreau. Alexandra Jean Muchinsky. Catherine Elizabeth Murphy. Megan Elizabeth Murphy. Morgan Alessandra Murphy. Emma Nason Nadeau. Hallie Marie Nelson. Henry Thomas Nelson. Zachary Robert Clinton Newman. Aiden Brooks Newsom Clark. Charlotte Isabel O'Brien. Catherine Marie O'Connor. Luke Andrew O'Leary.
Megan Julianne O'Reilly. Andre Olyacha. Matt Eric Olson. Lisa Lauren Owen. Nick Owen. Luke Tyler Pillay. Julia Rose Parker. Isabella Charlotte Harrison Parker. Phoebe Eleanor Parker. Samuel Ewing Parker. Wyatt Tucker Pascoe. Bridget Rose Patnoud. Cecilia Pavaro. Kirsten Ruth Pays. Charles John Peachy. McKenna Baker Peck. Thomas Graham Pendock. Annabelle Lily Perez de la Cruz. Jackson David Pollock. Luke Evgeny Pongratz.
Sophie Lila Purinton. Elizabeth Rose Quinlan. Adam Reynes. Cooper Miles Rick. Matthew John Roberts. Brenna Kelly Robillard. Anna Rodriguez Bass. Julian Lotaro Rojas Valvo. Eleanor Ika Roos. Frankiris Rosario. Greta Ann Roser. Spencer Charles Royal. Virginia Hanley Ryan. Robert Emiliano Sanderson. Jasmine Arelis Santana. Kristen Julia Schaff. Paul Emil Schnadig. William Emmett Schweitzer. Jaden Scott Massey. Madison Elizabeth Seiss. Ethan Severns. Leanna Marie Scarzi.
Parth Parag Shah. Amy Kathleen Shipe. Elizabeth Shoup. Maria Antonova Stilyanova. Anna Margaret Schulman. James Logan Sibley. Isabel Mikhail Sierra. James Douglas Sills. Elsa Ray Simonton. Nicole Taylor Small. Ava Bond Smith. Brooke Kennedy Smith. Liam Kelly Smith. Nathan Orion Smith. Garth Carter Stanier. Matthew Park Staybach. Casey Rose Stewart. Edward Lee Stores III. Isabel Bryn Sverchek. Hannah Elizabeth Simmons. Anna Senac. Clement Austin Tarpey.
Samil Coburn Tebow. Bailey Ann Tyne. Amanda June Tong. Harrison Richard Topol. Benjamin Emerson Tull. Jack Michael Umina. Sativa Summer Ungerlaffen. Davis Edward Van Inwigen. Danielle Margaret Basiliadis. Peyton Marie Vaughn. Sophia Francesca Verano. Madeline Marie Vergura. Eva Volkova. Dylan Francesco Wagner. Laura Catherine Wallace. Nicole Eileen Walton. Rachel Elizabeth Walton. Aaron Yohung Wang. Charles Sean Wang. Sylvie Jenkins Weinstein. Sasha Eliaz Wexler. William Blake Wessel.
Abigail Brooke White. Michael John Houlihan. August Crawford Williams. Susanna Bartlett Windmiller. Jalen Carter Winstanley. Emma Sophia Monroe Whipper. Julia Kate Worth. Mingxi Wu. Peter Young. Tashim Latif Zine Jr. Caroline Zheng. April Lily Zhao. Jeffrey Zhu. Aiden Christopher Zink.
Please stand. Let me start by saying it has been an honor to be your principal. Graduates, please move your tassels from the right side to the left. And now, a hearty congratulations and best wishes. Congratulations, you are a graduate.